Hello everyone, welcome to NASCAR News Kid. The NASCAR Cup Series headed to Richmond Raceway, coming in with 2 races to go until the playoffs. A huge upset, huge redemption from 1 year ago. We'll talk about how and why it happened, a full recap, results, 36-4-36, the cutoff, and the regular season championship, all in a few moments. Before we get to it, I remind you to hit that like button and subscribe if you like seeing the content you are seeing on this channel. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you to all you channel supporters. You guys are the best. Anyway, let's get to this recap because there's tons to get to, so let's get right into it. Ryan Preece leads the field to green, the Whelen modified driver known for that. Ran the modified race on Thursday night. Got a little bit extra practice. Maybe that helped him get the pole. I believe it did. Ryan Preece leads the field to green, and he would lead until all cars would pit around lap 35 to 40. Except Chase Elliott, Ryan Preece himself, Bowman, and the Spire cars would stay out, trying to run until the end of Stage 1 to have an extra set of tires. Reddick would pass Preece and go on to win Stage 1, who had already pitted. So, Preece, not so much, doesn't get the points he wanted, but still, solid effort, saves an extra set of tires for later on in the race. Reddick would pit in the pits first at the end of the stage, and Wallace would get out of the pits first, his teammate. Tons of speeding penalties, pit issues. Denny Hamlin, AJ Allmendinger, and Chase Elliott would all have pit issues. Wallace would lead the field back to green, and Ryan Preece would start his 3-stop strategy on lap 111, and others would start to pit 14 laps later on lap 125. Everyone pits, and Ryan Preece is to the lead. Austin Dillon, the driver who won this last year, got his playoff eligibility stripped after wrecking Logano and Hamlin in the closing laps. He would take the lead on newer tires, but would not last long, as Tyler Reddick would soon pass him for the lead on lap 139. Super fast 2311 cars already showing up. Ryan Preece would pit once again on lap 152, and others on the cycle would pit once again 15 to 20 laps later on lap 180, and Denny Hamlin would have another bad pit cycle after having a speeding penalty early. He would have a bad pit stop with that group. Caution would come out in the middle of the pit cycle. Tyler Reddick gets spun by Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs just getting shoved by Daniel Suarez out of the way, and Gibbs would slide up into Reddick. Reddick would spin out, causing the caution. Not so great for him. Good for Kyle Larson, though. He got some track position. He did not pit yet. And drivers who didn't pit, including Larson and Preece, would pit, and Wallace would lead the field to green. Another caution on lap 192, Cody Ware doing Cody Ware things would spin out in turn 2 and cause a caution. Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, and others from the back of the field would pit, and Bubba Wallace would lead the field back to green. Another caution before the end of the stage, Kyle Busch shoved Chase Briscoe, and you could look at it like Larson late block, Briscoe late block, and then Busch just send it in there and wrecked Briscoe. Briscoe would spin. Busch would also sneak by the wreck, but then he'd come down the track and hook Elliott into the outside wall. It was definitely an accident, in my opinion. You could look at it in different ways, depending on who you like as a driver. But in my opinion, that was definitely just Busch being kind of dumb at that moment in time. Just like, I'm gonna give up, as we've seen Kyle Busch in the past, and came down and wrecked Chase Elliott, wrecked his night, wrecked his chance for the regular season championship, which we'll talk about in a few moments. He would get spun, get into the outside wall, end his night. Justin Haley, William Byron, Brad Keselowski, and others would have a couple others would have a little bit of damage. Not too bad from others, but worse for others. Would not be able to continue for some others drivers. Bubba Wallace would leave field to green and go on to pick up Stage 2. Good work by him. 23-11, Stage 1 and Stage 2 sweep. Wallace would pit in first. McDowell would be out of the pits first with 2 tires, but Wallace out second with 4. McDowell lead the field to green, but would not last long with those 2 tires. Tires were everything, and he would lose the lead to Austin Dillon, who would run away with the lead. The driver who won last year, I'm mentioning him again, takes the lead and runs away from second. 2-second lead on second place. Carson Hocevar, 3-stop strategy in this final stage. Luke Lambert trying something different. His crew chief, they would pit first of 3 pit stops in stage 3 around lap 80, and others would pit around 10 laps later on lap 290. Wallace, who was in that pit cycle pitting around lap 290, would lose a tire. He was running like second coming into this pit cycle. He would lose a tire on pit road, and Briscoe's team, good job Briscoe's team helping out Bubba Wallace, they would help put it back on. No penalties expected, I'd say, because the tire did not get onto the racing surface, but good job by both of them. Wallace, quick work in thinking to get to Briscoe's pit stall and having them help. And good work by Briscoe's pit crew realizing the situation and helping out. Bell would also get a speeding penalty in the cycle. He wasn't really running great anyway, but still that would affect his finishing position. And Ryan Blaney would be to the lead on new tires and pass Austin Dillon. And Carson Hocevar would make his second of 3 pit stops in the final stage on lap 321. And Austin Dillon and Ryan Blaney would battle once again, side by side for multiple laps, and Austin Dillon would soon run away with the lead because a lap car on the bottom of the racetrack ran Austin Dillon up the track, made Blaney up the track, and Blaney had to back out or else he'd be walled. And Austin Dillon would take the lead, run away, and great call by Richard Boswell, Chase Briscoe's old crew chief, now with Austin Dillon for year 1 together. Austin Dillon would make the call to come down pit road, or his crew chief would, as soon as he got the lead, so no one can leapfrog him. Great call. Austin Dillon, Chase Briscoe, and others would soon start pitting. Bowman and Blaney would come down pit road around 3 to 4 laps later than Austin Dillon, trying to get a little fresher tires than Dillon, so then they can run them down a little later. Carson Hocevar would make his final pit stop around 40 to go, his third and final pit stop of stage 3 of the race, and it would not be so great. Slow pit stop, had to rejack it after one of the tire people were not done putting the tire back on, so bad pit stop, wrecked what could have been a decent result. Bowman tries to gain on Austin Dillon as well as Blaney, but they wear their stuff out, and Austin Dillon, redemption from last year, picks up the win. Great work by RCR. Bring fast race cars, executed well, cautions fell perfectly, so great work by RCR as a whole. Let's get to results here. Austin Dillon finishes first. Great work by him. First top 5 on the season, 5th top 10 on the season, so definitely not playoff caliber team in my opinion. I don't think they should have deserve this, but their speed definitely showed they should have. But, playoff caliber, I don't think this was really deserved to make the playoffs. Like, I don't really like winning you're in, but Austin Dillon still makes the playoffs. That's how the rule book is going, and Dillon makes the playoffs. P1 for Austin Dillon for the first time this season. Second for Alex Bowman, solid effort, was running Austin Dillon down, burnt up his stuff just like Ryan Blaney did, who also finished P3. Not so great by them, had a shot to win, but just burnt up their stuff too early. And Austin Dillon, great at tire saving, as he said, finishes P1, P2 for Bowman, P3 for Blaney, P4 for Joey Logano, another solid Team Penske effort. I want to mention Cindric, also P5, a Team Penske top 5, all 3 of their cars finished in the top 5, so great work. And I said in my preview, I did not think they were going to be great, but they proved me wrong and got a top 5, all of them. So great work by all of them. 6th for Kyle Larson, solid effort, started 30th, so that's good for him. Great big gain. Caution fell their way early in stage 2, so that kind of helped them as well. Daniel Suarez, P7, another great effort, finished like top 15 at Watkins Glen, so definitely showing the speed going into the playoffs, though he's not in them just yet, though he could at Daytona. 8th for Josh Berry, top 15, really all night, did not show winning speed at all, but still solid effort by him. 9th for Brad Keselowski, great work, even after being in the crash, a little bit of damage from that, he still came back with a top 10. 10th for Denny Hamlin, even after 2 pit road mishaps, gets a top 10. Highest finishing JGR car, did not really... I mean, he had an exceptional car. Just the strategy and executing did not work out. 11th for Zane Smith. They have not been able to finish out races. This was probably the first race they did in quite a while. 12th for William Byron, even after having damage from that crash with Kyle Busch, still makes it through for a top 15. 13th for Briscoe, also in that crash, got spun out. Kind of some damage on that car, but was able to get home P13, the last car on the lead lap. 14th for Shane Van Gisbergen. Huge shout out to him. He is getting better on the ovals. He studied Denny Hamlin's line and everything about that. He said, first one lap down, not too bad at all. Great work. Top 15 by Shane Van Gisbergen. I would want to see this every single week for Shane. 15th for Carson Hocevar. Strategy did not go their way, but it's better than finishing dead last and 2 laps down and being trapped. So definitely better by him. Better result than what they maybe could have gotten. And worse result than what they could have gotten if they didn't have a bad pit stop on that final stop. 16th for Kyle Busch, not too bad. Got in the wreck, kind of hooked Chase Elliott. Was an accident, and then just did not have the speed in qualifying as well. 28th starting spot. So RCR, solid top 16 for both of their cars. 1st and 16th being both of them. 17th for McDowell, not too bad. Tried something new, 2 tires, so solid by him. 18th for Ty Gibbs, had some sort of brake or tire issue, so got home solid for what it could have been. 21st for Bell, the worst JGR car this week. He definitely needs to turn this around going into the playoffs. 22nd for Allmendinger, had a speeding penalty earlier. His best start of the season being 3rd position, but just could not stay up there all night. 28th for Bubba Wallace and 34th for Tyler Reddick. Both were up front and had speed. I mentioned it in our preview, but just did not execute. Things did not go their way. Tyler Reddick, wrong place, wrong time, got wrecked. And Wallace, tire problem, pit stop problem, and got that back on. So no penalty probably this week, but still solid. Not the worst it could have been. And 35th for the pole man, Ryan Preece. 4 laps down. Definitely could have been better with strategy all over the place, just could not rebound. Anyway, let's get to the regular season championship before we get to the cutoff in 36 for 36 and my final thoughts. Regular season championship was decided. Byron ahead of Chase Elliott by 68 points. Elliott being in that crash kind of helped Byron get away. Hamlin in 3rd, minus 73, and Larson minus 80 in P4. William Byron locks in the 15 playoff points going into the playoffs. That will help him quite a lot, highest in points standings. So great job, William Byron and Hendrick Motorsports. The cutoff heading into Daytona. This is probably what everyone wants to see, and if you stuck around to see it, you are in the right place right now, right time. And standings going into Daytona, the cutoff. 15th, Tyler Reddick, plus 89 to the cut. He is pretty much good, unless Alex Bowman, who is 16th in standings, only 29 points back, plus 60 to the cut. If Bowman passes Reddick, and Reddick has a slump Daytona race, which we have seen him win a duel in Daytona before, if he has a bad race, gets in a wreck or something, it could be missing the playoffs if we get a new winner. Chris Buescher minus 60 under the cut in 17th. 18th for Ryan Preece minus 94 to the cut. 19th for Busch minus 148. And 20th for Gibbs minus 173. So with that win, Austin Dillon, it moved the cut. And now Bowman is on the bubble. If he can pass Reddick in the standings, and I know everyone in this cut battle right here is looking to win in the to make the playoffs in Daytona. If you're Bowman, if you pass Reddick, you're pretty much safe. If Reddick wrecks out in Daytona, Bowman is pretty much safe, and Reddick could be knocked out of the playoffs if they get a new winner. But yeah, not so great being on the cut for Bowman, Buescher, Priest, Busch, Gibbs, and Reddick. We'll have to see who makes the playoff next week. We'll have a more in-depth video coming out this week on the cutoff as we did last year. Now, 36-4-36, me and my brother's challenge. It was extremely close this week. My brother picked Josh Berry, and I picked Bubba Wallace. Both had solid runs. Wallace got stage points, 19 stage points, and had a bad final pit stop, which set him back. I really wish I could have gained points on my brother, but he got 31 points, I got 29. So my brother gains 2 points on me, I lose 2 points. So, not what I was wanting, but not the worst it could have been. Now, going into the playoffs, 11 races to go in our challenge. Who will win it? We'll have to see again in our in-depth video this week. We'll talk about 36-4-36 and where that is at as well. So, stay tuned for that. But anyway, I felt like this was finally what many fans were wanting for a race. Tire wear rather than fuel mileage. It was great racing. 23-11 had a heartbreak though. Penske top 5. Ryan Preece heartbreak. I mean, storylines were everywhere. Austin Dillon redemption. And gets that win. Locks himself into the playoffs from 1 year ago where he got it stripped away from aggressive driving. But anyway, that's going to do it. Thank you all so much for watching. Like I said, in-depth video for the cutoff coming out later this week, as well as 36-4-36, and where that is going into the playoffs. Yeah, that's going to do it. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, see you before Daytona.